My another crazy week done, and there is a lot to get into here. And things are about to get very funny, and we are about to have some profound moments here on another edition of the TweetCap here on the Productive Conversations podcast. Ryan, Paige, and Jose with us today. What's going on?
How's it going, Matt?
What's going on, guys?
Oh man, I am very excited to see your two reactions to the various stories we're about to talk about. First, let's talk about Aidan Ross, a YouTuber, a well-known YouTuber. He told the world he was interviewing Supreme Leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, where the United States government even intervened and said, no, this is a bad idea. And he winds up going on a live stream, has over 300,000 people on it, and it was an imposter. It was a fake. There was an actor portraying Kim Jong-un, and it wound up just breaking viewership records, but it ultimately showed a phony. And the stream just went out that way. So there's many ways to talk about this, but how about this? Are we all a bunch of suckers who went in to think that he was going to interview Kim Jong-un, this YouTuber, not somebody from a major news network, not some independent journalist, just some dude who has a microphone and a camera, and he was going to get Kim Jong-un to talk to him?
Okay. First I want to say, Matt, very nice using the specific honorific for the Supreme Leader of North Korea.
That's his literal name.
A phenomenal
his title.
A phenomenal touch that you gave him his deference in his title. I'll say this. When I first I mean, I think the State Department said not to do a thing. I think that was probably fake too. I think he made all of it up. That being said, and maybe it's because of the absurdness of both, the internet and just the planet that we live on at the moment. I think I went into it with like a 50-50 like coin flip that it might be Kim Jong-un. I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, listen, I know realistically it can't be, right? There's just no way that this guy got him. How are they going to talk to each other? Kim does not speak English, I don't believe. That doesn't matter. I put it down to a coin flip that this would actually happen with the real Supreme Leader of North Korea. What we got was way funnier. The guy looks somehow like a nerdier Kim Jong-un, which is crazy. And you know what? No harm, no foul. People are mad about this. Don't be mad. He broke records with this. This is funny. Like, if we all anyone like me who thought this could actually happen, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Obviously, this wasn't going to happen. This was obviously a joke. He obviously never got any word from the State Department. None of this was real. And so, yeah, good on him. It was publicity, but he's an entertainer, right? It's not like, Anderson Cooper did this. That would be a problem. This is a streamer. He makes entertaining content. He's supposed to make entertainment. And he had this funny looking guy claim he was Kim Jong-un come on, and it was funny. So I say as much as when it first happened, like, oh my God, this is insane. If this happens, obviously it wasn't going to happen. And what we got was genuinely entertaining, in my opinion. So good on Aidan Ross. I don't know anything about him other than this. But good on him. This was funny, and don't push it. Don't like try and actually interview him next time. Like, take your win and move on. But this was funny.
Honestly, I didn't even know who the hell he was. I never even heard of the guy. But I knew it was kind of bullshit. Unless his name was Dennis Rodman doing the interview, I just knew it wasn't gonna happen. So he was kind of smart for it. And he got everybody to look at his little stupid, I don't know what you call it, interview. But
well, he's not on Twitch, yes. I don't know where he streams because he got kicked off of Twitch because of his Andrew Tate stuff. But
yeah.
Is this guy the Indian little kid?
No.
I don't know who he is then.
No.
I didn't know who he was either, but he was just in his suit in his messy room.
It was really funny.
That's what I give the guy credit, honestly. Like,
it'd be like if we just had Kim Jong-un pop up on a tweet cap. Like the fourth box was just the supreme leader.
Maybe we have to make up lies and celebrity get lookalikes. Honestly,
Pretty much.
300,000 people.
Well, he did his job.
Yeah, no, exactly. That actor. I hope he paid that actor because that actor brought folks in just by name alone.
I mean, yeah, and I do wonder, like, the people of that nation and like, or like him, like, I wonder what his genuine reaction is.
He has absolutely
Ooh.
no idea.
Kim Jong-un,
Has
if
no
anything.
idea.
They haven't got the internet, for God's
Yeah,
sakes.
Kim Jong Un has absolutely no idea this happenens.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
people
man.
of North Korea have no idea that this guy exists.
This
probably-
wasn't exactly like Seth Rogen and the interview.
Oh,
Right.
they heinous because they anus.
Right now, he's probably banging one of his 17 wives. So he's probably not giving two craps.
No, he's probably not even in that. He's probably like staring at a block of plutonium, just wishing it
Probably.
into an ICBM. Please
Unbelievable.
grow up to be a bomb. Please grow up to be a bomb.
I mean, you learn something new every day, right? What a story. Then let me teach you all something that I learned and I saw in a legitimate article, and I happen to have a connection to this very story, and I'll explain why. So Joe Rogan, arguably the biggest podcaster in the world right now. I'm a fan of him. I'm a big fan. I genuinely enjoy his show, as I'm sure other people do. Now, having said that, according to a report by Change Research that interviewed Gen Z and millennial dating pools, again, Change Research, Gen Z and millennial dating pools reported that if you are a fan of Joe, let me restart it. Okay, according to a study by Change Research, 55% of women think that listening to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast is a red flag. So if you like Joe Rogan, apparently that's a red flag to 55% of women in this world. So, I mean, come on. That's the first thing I'll say. Come on. You really think this is the deal breaker because you like Joe Rogan? What are we doing, people?
I wouldn't say deal breaker. It's a red flag.
Right, red flag and deal breaker aren't the same.
I don't know. I've met
like
people who think one red flag is over. You're not.
Yeah, sure. For some people, yeah. For some people,
yeah, like on a first date, sure, it's like, this is a red flag. But who the fuck is going to talk about Joe Rogan on a first date? That's a red flag in its own right.
Yeah, the double red flag. It's Joe Rogan, but also you brought it up.
Brought it up, Joe Rogan.
I'll say this as well. I saw the images and I did verify. I looked at some other sites besides the MMA one just to see, and it did come up. New York Post had it. A couple of places had it. I did try to go to Change Research website to read the whole survey, and it kept taking me to a different survey, so I don't know what's going on there. But
that's the big question.
Anecdotal, but
this is the big question. Should it be a red flag if you're a Joe Rogan fan?
Red flag can be anything you want it to be, baby.
And I guess I'm risking myself in the comments saying this if they think it's that bad. But like, out of all the people to have red flags, sure, I know Joe Rogan has said controversial statements, but he's also done a lot of good for people too. He's given people breaks. I genuinely think he's a good person and he's out there for the greater good. And though people want to sway how he's portrayed, he seems like somebody who genuinely is interested in this world and wants to bring all people from all walks of life to his big platform and learn from it. And because of that, some people think that is a risk when dating somebody.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know if I see a show exactly like that myself. I don't know that Joe Rogan is red flag. I will say, reading the chart that they showed on all these sites, the same chart, and I don't know this is the case, but the way it was worded. So the question that these ladies were asked, that 55% said yes, this is a red flag, was they listened to Joe Rogan. Doesn't specify anything else. The question that they heard was, is it a red flag if a man listens to Joe Rogan? And so maybe like I could see some people taking that to mean like taking his advice because I think that while you're right, his
Mhm.
platform, you can dislike or like that he platforms people you disagree with. I don't necessarily care that much. I think where he gets into trouble is sometimes he just says things that are demonstrably wrong.
Mhm.
He sometimes gives bad advice. He often apologizes when he gets called on it. Like, remember when he said that what's it called, the forest fire thing? He apologized for that. But for a while, he was on a kick about the forest fires in California being started by some like laser or something, and he apologized when he was like, "Yeah, listen, someone told me that was stupid." But so maybe some people are like, "I don't care if you listen to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. I do care if you ever take Joe Rogan's advice."
Mhm.
Maybe some people like took it that way. But I think most people probably did take it as if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. Most people probably see those as together. If you listen to the podcast, you probably take his advice. So I think most of that 55% just genuinely see it as a red flag. And I mean, hey, there's plenty of fish in the sea. But if you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, apparently you only have half a sea to look at
Not
because
even
that's a
half.
lot. That's a lot. But yeah, less than half. That's a lot of people. Well, I will
Mhm.
say though, 60. What was it? 64% of men said that being a communist was a red flag. So one of the questions was communist,
Only
and
64%.
64% of men were like, if I meet a girl who's like I'm a communist, that's a red flag. Whereas
When
only
is
like
that ever
30.
brought up?
Exactly. And I feel like that's less common. So that's the same with like the Joe Rogan. If you bring up Joe Rogan, that's a separate red flag. If you find a way to bring communism into one of your dates, that's 4 red flags. And I don't even necessarily care that you are communist, but if you mention it to me in a
I
date,
love you for you, not because you're a communist.
if you mention it to me on a date, that alone is a red flag. And I feel like a lot of that 64% agrees with me. And I don't even care like if you actually have that political ideology.
Mhm.
I just don't know how you could have possibly brought that up to me. Other than I guess if we've been dating a while and there's like an election coming up and you're like, oh, actually, I don't vote for any of the candidates because I believe, and then maybe it'll
Or
come up, right? But like, how do
maybe,
you?
or maybe you went and took a date to a Cuban restaurant in South Beach in
Oh yeah, yeah,
California.
but that's different though because that I feel like that you would be far more likely to find out someone was like excessively anti-communist because they'd walk into their place and immediately be like, I hate Castro, and then they hate communism.
Or they could have been
Uh,
like, I was forced to get on the boat. I wanted to stay. My
Oh,
home,
okay, I got you. I wanted to stay. I love Castro. My grandparents made me
my
leave.
grandparents was taking my kids. I had to follow
They
suit.
forced me to Miami.
As I mentioned, I have a connection with this. So, I was aware of like these weird vibes that some people think that's a turn off or a red flag. So I matched with somebody on an app. Um, what was it like earlier in the year, like January, February. I was talking. She seemed really cool and interested in stuff, but then the interest was waning before we met, and I was like, let me put this to the test. And the she was talking about so when I don't really mention I have this podcast platform yet to like I really like someone because it's important. It's like telling someone I have a kid, and um so I mentioned that, and she asked me about my favorite podcasters, and then I'm like, oh, I like Part of My Take. I like Conan O'Brien, Mark Maron, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. You would think I, you would have think I was supporting Hitler or something. She was coming at me. He does this, giving me essays on how bad Joe Rogan is. And I actually said something similar. It's like, listen, I don't agree with everything he says. I just think he's an entertaining person who has interesting people. And even if I don't agree with these people, I think it's a well balanced platform and a good show. Gone. Never talked to her again. But that I knew that was probably going to happen anyways. But well, I guess she's part of the 55% that
Things you do for
thinks it
research
bad.
there, Beth. Things you do for research. The hard hitting research on this show. Matt tanked a date.
Oh man, I was not worried. I was that was a good indicator that things are meant to be. Wherever she
Yes.
is, I hope you're happy. While I listen to Joe Rogan. Kurt Angle was on and it was really good.
Yeah, he had a very good interview. I actually listened to bits of that one.
See? So
Also,
there you
for
go.
this is just a general bit of advice for the 55% of people who see it as a red flag, and for the rest, if you don't like Jordan Peterson, if you find him annoying, If you don't like Ben Shapiro, if you think what he
Yeah.
says is objectionable, I mean, you've listened to enough TweetCap at this point, hopefully, everyone, that I don't like either of those people. I've made that pretty clear. The comments have told me I'm an idiot for not liking those people, in fact. Just don't listen to those episodes, huh?
Seriously.
You just don't listen. I've never heard Ben Shapiro speak on Joe Rogan's podcast. I've heard him speak elsewhere, which is how I know I don't like him. But
He was never on the show.
Ben Shapiro, he's been on the show a bunch. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan loves having Ben Shapiro. I just don't watch. I just Ben Shapiro is on.
I bet if Taylor Swift was on Joe Rogan's podcast, that would change some minds. You know what? Joe Rogan's not so bad.
I feel like she's smart enough to know that 55% of women see it as a red flag, and that's her primary demo. So she's gonna stay far, far away from that show. I don't care how many people listen. Her demos spoke loud and clear. They don't like people who listen to Joe Rogan, so she's not gonna go on there. But yeah, you can just always and for any show, not just Joe Rogan, you just don't have to watch or listen. You could just turn it off, and then it's gone forever. You know, let other people enjoy things they like every once in a while.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So talking about people who don't like somebody. Talking about people. Next question. What was I saying? Okay. So Dave Portnoy is very popular on this pod. We talk about him a lot. And guess what? We're going to mention him again. Here on this report from Fox News, Barstool's Dave Portnoy went viral on Thursday after posting a video of a phone call with a Washington Post reporter about what he says is a coming hit piece on him. The article in question will apparently be about advertisers being associated with his One Bite Pizza Festival, which is this weekend or the weekend of September 23rd, 24th, 25th. A nice festival of small businesses showing their pizzas. People want to advertise with this big brand name, and someone in the Washington Post, I guess, wants to go further into that and want to ask the advertisers, why are you advertising with the brand and with their CEO who has made heinous comments, who has been controversial and stuff like that? Well, Dave calls her and, puts him on camera. He tells her right before, hey, you're being recorded. 29 people watch. She backs down. She seems a little hesitant, backs down from what's going on. Then they said, hey, we can meet tomorrow. So this was recorded on Wednesday. So Thursday we can meet on at 5:00. And we could do our in-person interview or over the phone. I don't know. I don't remember if it's in person or over the phone, but we could do an interview. And she cancels. So no interview. We are awaiting this hit piece by the time this recording is released. And yeah, I think the main thing I want to talk about here, not exactly about the hit piece, not exactly about the past, and we know Dave Portnoy's history and stuff, but it's the fact that so many of these major news organizations seem to really make it clear that they do not like Dave Portnoy, and they are trying to figure out any way to bring him down. And it seems that nobody has ever proven or have received or gotten substantial evidence to bring the guy down. You know what they say in one of the greatest TV shows ever, From the Wire, the great Omar says, if you go after the king, you best not miss. And it seems people keep coming at him and he's staying alive and relevant. Why are these people still trying to bring him down? It's not working. You will get exposed and you will have these stories come out after you.
That's pretty easy. I mean, because he has mad clout. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I like the guy. He tells it how it is. I mean, if he tells me if a place has shitty pizza, I'm not gonna go there. And he kind of like millions of people follow it. So I can see why people are hating and trying to go. They did it to bring him back to Joe Rogan. They did it to Joe Rogan back during the COVID era. It's the same shit. And plus that whole thing a couple of weeks ago with that pizza owner, he posted
Dragon Pizza.
We covered that as well, yeah.
Right. So that whole shit adds on to it. Didn't make him look good, and in no way. It didn't make him look good, and it just at the end of the video, you're kind of like F yeah, like I'm with Dave. Like so I mean I can see why Washington Post plus negative stories get more eyeballs. So
all right. So as I said, we covered Dragon Pizza on the show. And I was on record, Matt. You gotta give me props for this because you know you disagree with what I'm about to say. But I was on record saying that Dave Portnoy, the guy shouldn't yell at Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy was not in the wrong at all. He was just eating his pizza, doing his thing. I was 100% Team Portnoy during the Dragon Pizza thing. Correct, Matt?
Yep.
Okay. It's not a hit piece just because you don't like what they wrote down. It's not. I read for the first time, and I'm admitting this now, the last hit piece. Dave Portnoy has had 2 hit pieces about him. He's very, very vocal about that. The first one's by the New York Times. And I read it for the first time today. I'm admitting freely that I mean, I don't necessarily like the guy because he's kind of a jerk on social media, but I don't care. Like a lot of people like him. He's entertaining to a lot of people, and that's fine. He's got like 12 million followers, or at least that's what he used to have. I'm sure he's got more now. So yeah, totally fine with it. Not my cup of tea, but whatever. I read the piece for the first time today in preparation for this. And then I read Dave Portnoy's litany of complaints. I heard those complaints the first time around. I saw him go on Tucker Carlson. I saw him tweet about it. He didn't dispute any of the claims in the New York Times piece. He disputed that they didn't sit down with him. He disputed the process. He disputed all kinds of things. He never once said, you said that I said this about women, or that I said this about gambling, or that I said this about whomever. And because if he had said that, he could have sued the New York Times, and then this multimillionaire could have added a couple more million, which, you know what, I get he's got a lot of money. I don't know anyone who so wishes will be like, yeah, I'll throw away a couple $1,000,000 for no reason. So obviously he doesn't believe that the New York Times committed libel. Now, obviously, we haven't seen what Washington Post wrote. So they might say something libelous, and he might challenge them on it, and then they'll have to retract and give him money, and then it'll be whole 9 yards. But the first time around, this hit piece, as he claims, he never once said that anything in the piece was false. He just said that he thought that they were painting him negative light, and they 100% were. They obviously don't like him. They obviously don't like the things
Might
he
as
says
well
online.
say this guy, this asshole Dave Portnoy.
They called him a degenerate gambler. In fairness, he calls himself a degenerate gambler. But
I know,
they
we talk
used,
about considering people's feelings and handling addiction and stuff like that, but yet they're coming at his addiction problems. But
well,
what do you know?
he doesn't say he's addicted. He doesn't. He's never once.
No,
claimed
I'm saying as a
not all
degenerate
gamblers,
gambler,
but not all gamblers are addicted, even if they're degenerate. I know degenerate gamblers who are not addicted to gambling, in that they could
wait,
stop.
how does
But they
that
don't
work?
want
How
to.
can you not be a degenerate gambler not having an addiction
Degenerate
to
just
it?
means degenerate doesn't mean addicted. Degenerate
Okay.
has nothing to do with addiction. My point is, let's see the article. We're calling it a hit piece. Hasn't even come out yet. We have no idea what they wrote. We have no idea if any of the claims are true or false because we haven't seen any of the claims. Now, I will say, whenever he calls them directly, they do turn into these little freaking Minnie Mouse whatevers. And he's done it a few times with a few different people, and everyone folds. I looked it up. I used to live in New Jersey, as I've mentioned before. I want the New Jersey Star Ledger to do a piece on Dave Portnoy because I want to see him try and intimidate one of the guys from Asbury Park on the phone. It won't work. I don't get why these reporters from the New York Times and from the Washington Post turn into these like actual sheep. Maybe it's like legal. They're worried they're going to get like sued or whatever. Like, I don't know what it is. Dave Portnoy in that phone call was just like, I want to set the record straight. All she had to say was, listen, Dave, you can buy my paper. And if you got a problem with anything I wrote, go ahead and let me know. But I've got everything I need. I'm publishing on X date. It'll be live and in circulation. You can tell me about it then. And that's it. That's the whole phone call. No, we can talk about it. We can do this. No. If you know what you're going to write, and this is where I agree with you, Matt, they know they're going to write something negative about Dave Portnoy. They know who he is. We all know who he is. We know whether we like that or not. So if you know you don't like it, just be like, listen, I don't like you, Dave, and I think what you say is wrong. And I'm going to write a paper saying, we know what you say. Here's what you say. I think it's wrong. And there's nothing Dave Portnoy can do about that. He's going to tell his people, oh, it's a hit piece. And then his people will parrot it. The stoolies will come out and say, oh, it's a hit piece before it even comes out, as they're doing right now. It's all ridiculous. But I will say this whole thing to me is just a testament to if you've got a base of people on side, you're set. I always say cancellation is not a real thing anyway, and this is proof of that. I don't know what they could publish that would get the Stoolies to turn on Dave Portnoy. I don't think it exists. Again, maybe murder, right?
No,
If they said I watched him kill someone, here's the video. Okay, that could get some Stoolies off
no,
the
hold
train.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. He murdered someone. Did he try pizza after?
Right, yeah. seven out of 10 needed more Parmesan on that murder.
Yeah, me and more Parmesan. Yes.
So yeah, like totally, 100%. Like I think that if you've got fans, you're set for life. Social media has made it so you don't have to worry about anyone ever again. If you've got a million followers, 500,000 even, don't even worry about it. You're good, golden. Your life is easy for the rest forever because you've got people who will back you up no matter what.
Can I ask you, has he sued any other newspaper before?
He tried one time and it got tossed out in court. He did sue Liable one time. It was over the sex tape stuff. Remember that?
I get the sex tape. Right.
Yeah, some of the stuff they were writing about the sexual, and not just the sex tape, but like the sexual exploits with various women. That was the only time he even attempted to legally shut things down and say none of this is true. And a court said, "I don't think you're right," and they tossed the case. They didn't rule against him. They just said we're not listening to this.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the stuff you're saying right now kind of makes me like him more. Just saying.
No, listen. I said that to Matt too. I was like, listen. Some people are going to hear me say all this, and they're going to say, "Yeah, I love Dave Portnoy." That's fine. You can be that person. I'm not saying that's like good or it's bad. I am neutral on whether or not you think his comments make him a better or worse person. I have a personal opinion, but
I don't think
actually care.
I don't think his comments really matters. I think it's just the swagger he brings.
Well, sure, whatever part of it. You could look at his persona, the things he says, the way he says it, where he says it, and say, I love all of that. And whatever. I'm not here to judge you for that. I am, though, here to say that this whole hit piece narrative is a narrative. For the Stoolies who think that they're fighting against the mainstream narrative, they're not. They're just buying another narrative. You haven't read a single word of this Washington Post article.
Yeah,
not a single word. No one has. Right.
It is highly anticipated, but imagine if they don't even post it, they retract it. That would if they had the balls to even do that.
Why would they retract it?
No, I'm sorry. You can't retract an article that isn't released. I'm saying just imagine if they take it. They just don't. Yeah,
they just kill it. They won't do that because it's got so much attention now.
And that's the point I'm trying to make. And the big thing is like it. And just to reiterate, Ryan, you made everything clear and absolutely great stuff. But it's just the fact that, why aren't these people standing by what they have to say? What's he gonna do?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Are the Stoolies gonna come to their house? I mean, maybe they're
scared of that. I mean, maybe they're scared of that. That's why
I think they are.
The Star,
find them.
The Star Ledger, New Jersey's largest newspaper. I worked with some of the guys who worked at the Star Ledger when I was in fundraising in New Jersey, and they are just like regular dudes from New Jersey who happen to be writers. Like they are not the New York Times. They are not the Washington Post or the LA Times. They are just people from New Jersey who are writing the news. And I would love for one of them to do a Dave Portnoy piece because I would love to see that conversation. Be like, what are you calling me for? Don't you have a business to run?
Seriously, just let it rock. You're not it. You really need to get this. You need to get your stuff ready if you're really going to try to bring him down. Now, I mean, that'd be some challenge. You'd probably be beloved in the journalism.
If he goes I mean, honestly, Matt, do you think they really are doing all this to take him down? I don't think they care. I think they know his name sells newspapers.
I hear what you're saying. You make a good point, but the fact that all these people keep trying think about it. Like, why did she? If this is allegedly about like just criticizing the advertisers and the big brands who are trying to help,
it's about Portnoy. It's about Dave Portnoy. But she's not trying to take him down. She just knows that this is an opportunity to write about Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, but like exactly my point. Like, why do we care so much to keep writing in this? Unless this is the clout you're looking for. He's got like 14
million followers. That's
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, are you trying to mooch off his popularity, and that's why all these people, or are you really? It's my motive to bring Dave Portnoy down. Like, just to make an example, like
of course, I'm gonna have to say it's clout. It's definitely clout.
I mean, listen, if they bring him down, if they found something, if they found that he like assaulted somebody or whatever, if that came out, and it did ruin his career, but they got to be the journalists, it's like a Watergate thing, then sure, they wouldn't hate that either because they still get clout out of it, but they don't care what happens to Dave Portnoy. They just care that people read their article and that they get known as, they just want, it's the only part of the KFC defense tweet that I liked was that, they're doing it for the attaboys because that's true. They are. They don't really care what happens to Dave or the Pizza Fest or the people who are going. They just want everyone to be like, oh, so-and-so wrote the Portnoy piece because it's a big name, controversial figure. You write that, it's on your resume, and people are going to talk about you. That's all. Whatever happens to Dave Portnoy is irrelevant because they can turn it into a career either way. They could be the person who brought him down if that's what happens, or they could be the person who, did the investigation on him. And, the American public still love Dave Portnoy, but they found that out too through their article, right? Like, newsflash, you don't need an article to know that most people, I don't know if most people, but a lot of people like Dave Portnoy. But yeah, it's just, they just want clout. I don't think anyone is like, I must take down Dave Portnoy. They don't care what happens to him or Barstool or One Bite Fest. They just know that his name in the headline is going to get them noticed. It's going to sell newspapers. People are going to talk about it. And that's what the news, at least, that kind of news is. It's about stuff that people want to read.
Hear that, man. Hear that. So moving on, Taylor Swift is back on the show. So it was so it was reported last week that Taylor Swift and well, I'm sorry, I'm slapping. All right, it was reported last week that Taylor Swift and Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce were quietly hanging out. That was a legit report, quietly hanging out, which led to them having dating rumors. So, according to a report by @TheMessenger, Taylor Swift and Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce have hung out twice and have been texting this past week. Kelce told Taylor that he would love to continue seeing her. And per the report, she and Travis have hung out twice, and it's nothing serious. She thinks he's very charming, and they have been texting. Again, keep repeating the quotes, I guess. But anyways, it also says here that he is a little embarrassed at how much attention they are getting, but he has told her he would love to continue seeing her. And branching off of this, he went on the Pat McAfee show on Thursday, pretty much saying, well, let me actually just say his exact quote. Yeah. When Pat McAfee asked, do you want to expand on this? He didn't directly ask about the dating. He simply said, I told her what I've seen. I told her I've seen her rock a stage in Arrowhead, and she might have to come to me rock the. Oh my God, what am I doing? And on the Pat McAfee, he said, I told her that I've seen her rock a stage in Arrowhead, and she might have to come see me rock the stage at Arrowhead. So be it, make what you want of that. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Do we think that this is going to blossom into something, first off?
I want to know when the report comes out that that she says she likes him. This is all very, very juvenile, the reporting around this. I'm not blaming you, obviously, Matt. You're reading direct quotes. I think it's very important. None of those words out of Matt's mouth were Matt's. Those are real people who get paid probably a decent amount to write these stories. But yeah, it could happen, right? They're both in their 30s, right?
They're both 33 years old.
Yeah, so they're similar age, probably career-wise they're in a similar spot. Obviously, she's going to be famous for a lot longer. She's already more famous than Travis Kelce, but
by miles.
Yeah, but she's going to be famous for longer. But I would say he's probably at the peak of his career. That's he's like in his prime right now. 33 years old, Super Bowl champion. He can't get much bigger. Like he's at his max. She's kind of at her max, I think. I don't know how much bigger she can actually get. Because everyone knows who she is. She's universally known at this point. So yeah, both famous. Both around the same age. I don't see why it can't happen. I know Travis Kelce's a bit of a wild guy. He doesn't always keep his mouth closed, and I feel like the Taylor Swift machine won't love that. Like, you know what I mean? We've seen the clips of like Pat Mahomes like taking the microphone away from Travis Kelce at the White House and things like that. So he doesn't necessarily have the PR skills to hang with Taylor Swift, but yeah, I don't, love is love, right?
The only thing I got out of that fucking message from that was that Travis hasn't got laid yet.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that would be tough. Only twice
Hung
hanging
out
out.
twice and have been texting.
That's it. I
So
would just cut
so juvenile though.
I would
See,
have just cut it off right now.
They're texting. Who
this
cares?
is journalism now.
I mean, it's celebrity gossip. That's never been hard hitting, but like there are a lot of real newspapers kind of covering this, which is kind of weird. Why do regular like why again? It's because
Taylor Swift is the most important person in the world.
It's not just that. It's probably because he's probably with the Kansas City Chiefs and they're one of the favorites to win it.
Sure, so but now, I think that she's definitely bigger than he is.
She's definitely. It's like it's up there, but all the guys know is because he's probably
all the guys know Taylor Swift too. They might not have the same devotion as some of their lady friends, but everyone on the planet knows who Taylor Swift is. I was just looking at Q scores. I'm not looking at actual ones. I'm not paying the money, but just kind of reading about them and looking at some old ones. And you'd be surprised at how low athletes score. Q scores are like likability and name recognition for celebrities. At Ronda Rousey's peak. So remember when Ronda Rousey, like UFC Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey's peak when she was probably the most famous female athlete of all time. I think that's probably true. She was at about 60% for the Q score. So a little over half. People knew who she was. Athletes score way, way lower than people realize. They're far less famous than people realize. I think the biggest thing.
Yeah, not everyone's a sports fan.
Right. I think the biggest thing working against this relationship, other than the constant attention that the media is putting on it, even though it's only been like a week, is that he
hanging out
might think he's famous. I mean, he is famous. I'm not insulting him. He's certainly famous. But like he doesn't know what famous is compared to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift famous is like something else. It is something that I don't even think the three of us could sit here and try and describe it together, and we probably wouldn't come close. Like
and that's the big question. So is he trying to go on her clout, or does he actually like her? Because this stems from a summer story that he wanted to give her a friendship bracelet.
No. I think he likes her. I don't think, or whatever. I think he's interested. He doesn't need the clout. The Kansas City Chiefs don't need to be clout chasers. You know what I mean? Like, yes.
Yeah, this is a weird story. The more I think about it, the more when I did this segment, like, it really is a weird story. Like, who gives a shit?
Right, that's what I mean. It'd be one thing if they were dating, like actually, it'd be like, oh wow, dating. Celebrities dating. That's celebrity news. But Taylor Swift is texting someone is essentially the story.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: celebrities hook up too. They hit it and quit it. And
yeah, but in sports is different. It's like the Kim Kardashian curse. And you're talking about the most popular league in the world is football. Well, America's football.
In America, yeah.
It's the most gambling sports betting is football. So when you're like, look at week one, this whole shit started week one, and they fucking lost. I lost money, so of course I give a shit. If freaking Taylor
he's
Swift
hurt, right? He's hurt, right?
Well, he was hurt.
Well, he's back now.
He's back now, but he was hurt the first 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, right? Well, he got hurt sending them text messages, and guess what happened? I lost. So that's the only reason why I give a shit about. Like this week, they're playing. I forgot who they're playing.
Who are the Chiefs
they
playing
better
this
win.
week?
Yeah.
I
don't know who they're playing, but they're playing somebody.
I don't remember the top of my head.
There is you guys. Actually, though, real quick, you have heard the Taylor Swift curse, right?
Well, what's this?
All the stadiums that she's played in, because she's played only football stadiums for the most part. Right. Like the teams lost week one or something.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, every single stadium she played or in her Eras tour, the team that played there loses. I mean, except for the Jets. The Jets won, even though she played at MetLife.
But the Giants lost.
But the Giants lost by a quadrillion. And the Jets did lose Aaron Rodgers. in the first
all her
first
fault.
4 plays. So there's like a whole Taylor Swift curse that if she plays your stadium, you were bound. Best case scenario is you lost. Like the Pats lost by a couple points. That was the best case scenario.
And you talk about this is kind of like when I remember when Jessica Simpson at her peak was dating Tony Romo, and he lost all the games of dating her that
I
season.
do remember that. Yeah.
It's kind of like that, and we're not going to talk about, but Kim K is allegedly hanging out with Odell
Or
Beckham
Chloe.
Jr. And
Yep.
that actually, I don't even care. Like, who cares?
Tom Brady said no.
Listen. Baltimore is the favorite to win that division, so I care a little bit because I have them coming out.
Man.
I care a little bit, he says.
Oh boy.
The gambling in him.
By the way, Chiefs lose this week, and they're definitely cursed. They play the damn Bears, all right?
Oh
The
yeah.
If the Chiefs lose to the Bears, he will absolutely ghost Taylor Swift. 100%. She'll never hear from him
weren't.
again.
I mean, they beat the Jags this week. It wasn't as dominant, but I don't know.
The Jags are like subpar. The Jags are like they'll just barely make it in.
They have a decent defense, right?
I mean, but then they're in a crappy division, so they should be the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you guys heard about Colorado Representative Lowen Boebert?
Yeah, Boebert.
Man, I would like to go on a date with her.
So she goes on a date with some guy. They go to see Beetlejuice the musical. I guess not realizing that there are cameras there to, make sure everything's okay in the theater. It is clear that she is giving him an over-the-pants hand job while he is groping her, by the way, with consent. And this was caught on camera. People are embarrassed, I guess, or not embarrassed. They went home, and she confirmed that it was a first date and it was over. And he
was a Democrat, by the way.
What the heck? That's all I can say there. And yes, she's very attractive. And I won't lie. If I was in his position, I would be very happy. I'd probably, and I don't know. It was a one-time thing, I guess. And
certainly now.
Whatever happened, right? What do you guys think about this story?
Jose, I feel like this is up your alley, Jose. So I want to hear you first.
For me, I mean, it's not really a big deal. Like, I had a couple of girls that I went on dates have their whole titties out. So it really, I mean, realistically, that's the dumbest story in the world, especially. I mean, I did
a Broadway show
worse.
Though. Well, it's not Broadway. It was
in Colorado, but yeah.
It was in Colorado, but
it was a show at a movie theater with a bunch of people. Like I still remember the movie. Was it Blade Runner 2024? Was the last time it happened? I met a girl on the first.
That movie.
I remember a lot worse things, but I just remember going. I drove all the way down to Queens, New York, to go see this stupid movie on my first date with this girl. Had her titties popped out, hand in my pants. Good to go. Took her to a nice motel. That's the girl for the motel story for the last podcast.
You didn't go to the Loop Inn.
Not the Loop Inn.
I did not the Loop Inn. But it was a nice 4-hour hotel.
So I'm gonna actually hop in here. And this is why I'm gonna hop in here. But I agree. But not for the reason that you all think I agree. So I follow it a little bit. This show used to be really heavy news, and then the really heavy news got me and Matt super depressed. So we focus on other stuff. But every once in a while, I still keep looking at the politics and the government and things like that. Living in DC, and I mean, there's a lot of things you could dislike about Congresswoman Boebert. I do think she lacks class, and I do think this might be an example of that. But also, frankly, her classiness is like not the main issue. I mean, again, she's got a reprehensible voting record. She is, I would say, closer to illiterate than well-read, if you had that on a scale. There's a lot of problems that Congresswoman Boebert has. She is a disgrace, but this is not the disgraceful bit. I mean, to put it like Jose said, obviously I've never done this, but I know people besides Jose, who have gotten, the heavy petting and gotten a little frisky in the back of a theater, maybe not a Broadway theater, and maybe not when they were a member of Congress on the first date. Again, it's definitely not good that she did this. But if your biggest problem with Lauren Boebert is this date, then you're not paying any attention. You just
ain't
not.
even the worst part.
This is not even
Like, what
a
are
little
some
bit.
of these bad things though for context?
What's it called?
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, she was speaking about the virtue of teen pregnancy, based on basically because of abortion stuff. She's anti-abortion at any point for any reason. No exceptions, no life of the mother, no any of that. I don't want to get too much politics, but it's politics, Matt, to put it mildly.
I get
Her
it.
politics are reprehensible, certainly to me. I think to about most of America. She only won re-election by 500 votes. 500.
She must have got them 500 votes from the 500 horny ass dudes. Huh?
Exactly, something like that. She had a gun-themed barbecue restaurant before she was in Congress, so every one of the waiters was open carry. It's just she's a Republican.
She's a nut job.
She's a Republican, which I don't like. But beyond being a Republican, which I don't like, as not a Republican, because there's plenty of normal Republicans, she's crazy. She's a crazy woman. And so in addition to me not liking her politics, she's also insane. I don't think this is, though, again, I don't even think this is an example of her being insane. I think this is an example of her being, on a first date that she thought was going really well. But yeah, I don't know. I think that this story got blown way out of proportion. It's this, and it's the guy who won't wear his suit. John Fetterman. He only wears gym shorts to Senate. Those,
sure. I think the thing I got of this story is like,
they're
wow,
the same
they
to
really
me.
did this.
Yeah,
these people are nuts. No common sense using your noodle. You will be caught on camera doing such an act. Like, that's the dumb thing about it.
I do agree with that. Like, obviously, you're going to get caught doing this, so why are you doing it? But also, like, we have elections.
Unbelievable.
Just don't. If you have a problem, then just get rid of them during an election. This is the least bad thing I can think of that she's done. And so to me, like, it's so weird that everyone's paying attention to this. Like, I mean, she did lie about it. That's bad, especially, for a leader. But other than that, other than the lying about it, there's nothing in this story that would make me, if I liked her, there's nothing in the story would be like, oh, I don't like her anymore. Obviously, I don't like her. And nothing in the story makes me like her. It's just a neutral story of a person who's having a really good first date with a congresswoman. And I just don't understand why this one blew up, to be honest with you, Matt.
Well, you guys are looking at all the negative stuff. Like, think of the positive stuff out of the story. Like, think of the positive. Look, nice first date. You take a
happy ending, yeah.
But you can go. Now you know what gets them hot and wet. All right, you just take them to the Beetlejuice on Broadway. Call it a day.
Beetlejuice.
She's only 35, by the way. Grandmother. Only 35.
Already? God damn.
Again, it's the family is from rural Colorado. That's what I'll say.
I'm about to go to Colorado there and get some hoes.
Ivy, you know what? If you went to her district, if she's representative of that district, you'd probably find some.
Maybe meet her. She's single. Maybe go meet her. Go see Deion Sanders at a game.
She is single. She just got divorced, actually. But she does have.
You could go to the Colorado game together.
2 kids. Yeah, she's
Colorado. Yeah.
Oh, she's not going to see. She's not going to see Coach Prime. That's not her. That's not her. Not her.
You sure? Maybe I could get a hand job down there in front of all the staff.
Not her speed. Not her speed.
Well,
you can go see
learn
Jerry
something
Falwell
new every day, right, my friends?
Don Jr. You can go to the Don Jr. rally and get some action there, probably.
Speaking of politicians who are known to be liars, why don't we talk about a stand-up comedian who is allegedly a liar? Actually, no, it's confirmed he is. So Hasan Minhaj, former host of
Minaj, yeah.
Sorry, Hasan Minhaj. So former host of, or I should say, former correspondent of the Daily Show, Hasan Minhaj, and he was a host of the Patriot. The Patriot Act.
Something like that. Yeah, it was based on the Patriot Act. If it wasn't called the Patriot Front, something like that. I was on Netflix.
All right, you get it. Regardless, comedian Hasan Minhaj. That's his name.
Yep, Hasan Minhaj. Yeah.
I will stop with the mispronunciations today. It was a long day. But anyways, Hassan Minaj, very famous stand-up comedian. He was approached in an article by the New Yorker by Claire Malone, where
Great writer, by the way.
Where it was revealed that a lot of his stand-up act was not factually true, but rather laced with and improvised with manipulations and lies for the sake of his popularity, seeking victimhood and agenda peddling. Talking about moments of racism and stuff like that. And it's revealed that he fabricated the truth in his stand-up routine. And whether that's for clout, whether that's for social justice, you be the judge. But Hassan definitely has a bad look. He's now looked at as a liar. And he hasn't commented yet, but I think this is not something you want to do if you're him. Yeah. What do you guys think about him being outed as a liar in his stand-up?
So, I mean, do we on this podcast here today think that Kevin Hart looked at Dwayne Wade or Shaquille O'Neal, whoever's in that joke, and explained to him that here's the thing, I've got this checkings and I've got this savings. And in order to get things out of savings, I need 3 to 5. You know that joke I'm talking about? About they rented out Disney World or something, or Six Flags. I feel
I'm not familiar, but it sounds funny.
It's a Kevin Hart joke from like the beginning of Kevin Hart's career. But the moral of the story is, of course, he didn't say that. And I feel like stand-up comedians do like I've never once been like everything I hear from a stand-up comedian must be true.
Yeah, they're storytellers a good amount of the time.
Maybe that's just me, and I do get that in Minaj's specific instance, a lot of times he like made claims about like racism, right? That was his thing, was like racism and observing like the culture of the United States. And so I get that it's a bit more fraught a subject, and so I could see why it rubbed people the wrong way. But I feel like the revelation that comedians will sometimes make up a story is not a revelation at all. I think that's just I just assume most of the stories are not real. Like think of any Daniel Tosh story. None of that's true. There's just no way Daniel Tosh did any of that. The only comedian I know I believe most of the time is, what's his name? Jeselnik. Anthony Jeselnik, because he does seem kind of like a jerk. But you know what I mean? Like, I think most comedians tell stories. That's their job. So I'm not sure that I see this as big a deal as people are making it. Again, I get the subject matter is different, and it's a very fraught subject matter that, people have a lot of opinions and feelings about for a lot of good reason. But I think the overall story of he lied, and I don't buy that as like a real problem, because it's not lying. He didn't lie like a reporter. He told a story on like a TV show. Like, yeah. I don't know why we assumed he was telling us the truth to begin with. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Ryan.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I totally agree with everything you said. Like, well done.
Thank you. I have my moments.
Yeah, this really is a who cares moment. Like, let the man tell his jokes and stuff. But
a lot of people care, but
there's worse things to be upset about. That's all I have to say with that.
I agree. That's, again, yeah.
Plus, like, who got time to fact check every comedian and their stupid stories?
A lot of people have time in their hands, man.
I see that.
And agendas.
I see.
Well, Claire Malone is a good writer. I didn't read this article, so I don't know what the agenda was there, and I won't pretend to know, but I do know who Claire Malone is. I know she's a very good writer. So maybe
they denied this person a meet and greet.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows why it was written? And I mean, again, obviously people cared about it because the backlash, like Matt said, was really, it was quick. Like, people turned fast. We talk about how if you have fans, you're safe. Well, he must not have had a lot of very good fans because people turned on him. I didn't even know who he was. Fast. I know he's funny on the Daily Show. I like him, but they turn on him fast. And so I will say he put a bit of a spotlight on himself because he did the one White House Correspondents' Dinner during the Trump era. They only did one, and Donald Trump basically shut that thing down. And they asked him to do it, and he said he would do it. And they told him no jokes about the president, and he said okay. And then he only made jokes about the president the entire time. So conservatives, specifically Trump conservatives, hate him. Have hated him since well before this. So that group of people, whenever they can see this, sanctimonious little jerk Like whenever that group of people gets to dig their heels into someone for doing something wrong, they really like to do it because so often they're the ones in the wrong. My personal opinions, obviously. So I could see why the backlash was as hard as it was, but I think with time, people cooler heads will prevail. He'll probably make a statement like, "Yeah, they're stories. They're allegorical. They represent a real experience of real people in this country. They don't have to be my actual stories. They're meant to be funny. They're meant to be entertaining. They're meant to be thought provoking. They're not meant to be biographical. And it'll be a story for a little bit. People will be a little upset perhaps, but I think it'll all kind of flatline out and he'll be able to start working his way back up to kind of where he was. But he won't be the host of the Daily Show. At one point I thought he might, but that's not going to happen. So
I guess that's the real takeaway from this is he's just gonna have to pivot, and if he did aspirations for the Daily Show, it's not gonna happen. Ryan, can you talk to us about this Mexican alien story and what's going on
I
here?
can. So
What's happening?
we've talked about it before.
When you say Mexican aliens, you mean aliens from the sky or like alien
Oh,
Mexican
we
aliens?
mean from the sky.
Yes, aliens.
Okay.
To make that clear,
We mean from the sky.
we're talking about extraterrestrial life.
So
All right,
there's
good. I can't wait this story.
Yeah. So there's a guy, right? And he is a ufologist. So please take him with a grain of salt. He is over the last several years tried to produce biological proof of aliens. At one point in 2015, he brought aliens forward, and it was tested and it was proven that it was just like a mix of like, human teeth and like animal bones, and it was not real. But he came forward again, and he actually was allowed to speak in front of Mexico's Congress, speaking about these aliens that he found. He said he found 2 more aliens in Peru. This is all because Mexico is looking to pass a law. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the law, but a consequence of this law, should they pass it, is that Mexico will be the first country on the planet to legally acknowledge the existence of extraterrestrial life outside of Earth. There's more to it than that. It's about the skies. It's about space. It's about a lot of different things, but that's a consequence. If it passes, that's something that will officially be on the record that Mexico as a country believes in aliens. So anyway, he's saying he's obviously for this because he believes aliens are real. And he said he would submit to having a test on these aliens like he did last time that they failed. So they had the test on Monday. So this is the update. So that's all stuff we talked about last time. The update is the test was done on Monday, live streamed on this guy's YouTube channel. The whole test. They put the alien in an MRI machine. It was actually very funny because it was like doctors and they had like the full thing.
Are you talking about the little ass people?
Yeah.
The
little one. Yeah. But they put it in like an MRI machine. It was like very funny. Like stethoscopes. It was very funny. But anyway, long story short, the minister of like science in the Navy from Mexico, who is essentially in charge of the group that did this test, has come forward and said, this is not a weird mixture of bones and skin and stuff put together. Whatever this is, and he wouldn't say what it was. He doesn't know what it is because that was not my point. My point was to see, did they just, scotch tape a bunch of twigs together and say, look, I found ET? And the answer is no. Whatever he just looked at, he said, whatever my team just looked at is a real thing. Everything belongs together. No one put it together. It wasn't constructed. This was born, essentially, is what he said. Peru, for their part, has said it's not aliens. They said it's a pre-Hispanic artifact from Peru. Don't know what that means. And then they said they're going to arrest him because they don't know how he got these out of Peru. To which the scientist says, they're not going to arrest me. I don't care. And also it's aliens. And so basically what we've learned now is, unlike last time, we know for a fact that he didn't make this. He's not, whatever he has, he's not faking. You know what I mean? He didn't put together something and say, look, I made this, or I have this alien, and it's something he created. He found an entire intact fossil. It belongs together. And so that's huge. And a lot of people in the Mexican Congress are saying, ooh, maybe we need to pass this bill. So Mexico is, I don't know when the vote is scheduled for, soon though. And Mexico could be the first country in the world to put in legal right, put it in law that they believe in aliens, which I think is just, again, kind of crazy to think about, especially with the timing and the guy from America doing his thing, which we talked about. But yeah, no one has come forward with an explanation as to what they are. Someone that says they must be fossilized or mummified like children. I don't know. They only have 3 fingers. It's all of it's very strange. I kind of thought they would test it and be like, this is just like cat turds tied together, and it wasn't. So, yeah, we don't know what this is, but they're real. We know they're real, and that's kind of crazy because no one is talking about it.
Man, I am sick and tired of these alien stories. Like, come on. I don't know what the hell this is.
Well, you
I
said
don't
they
know
needed
what
aliens, and they brought you aliens. You said I need to see the aliens. He brought you some.
if it's yes, to be fair, that did happen, but if it's so easy to explain, why is this hullabaloo taking place with it? Like, oh my God. You're gonna get some schmuck from the street just to tell you, hey, look, I got aliens right here. Believe me. And you go do these scientific tests and whatever. Like, damn, if it's that easy or hard, what again? Who cares? I need the day I believe in aliens is when they come here and they say, "What up?" and
What if
we
they were
hang out
already
with
here,
them.
man?
I
This
don't
would prove they were
know.
already here.
Listen, I want to be on the record to say I do believe in extraterrestrial life. I do believe aliens are real, but of course there is a catch. There is a catch to all these alien stories you people have. It can't be straightforward. That's the thing that makes it so aggravating to listen to. I got this person saying this person saying that. I have the whole sci-fi channel giving me something, Netflix and Discover, like, oh
Well,
my
yes, and there are
goodness.
people still, even with the new study saying this is real, this is not man-made, this was a born object, still saying that it's not an alien, that they don't believe it's an alien. They've not tested it. One guy made an interesting point though. He goes, "What are the odds that real aliens look like what we came up with for aliens?"
Mhm.
If you think about it, because it looks like
Right.
ET. What are the odds that the guys who created ET were just
Exactly.
spot on?
They just so
They
happen.
just nailed it. Like, and that's like probably the most compelling argument against it to me, because I mean I don't know what it is, and Mexico seems to think that Mexico seems to think they're aliens, and so I'm like, all right, well, the whole country of Mexico can't be completely off its rocker, right? But I do think the idea that the guy who came up with ET just hit the nail on the head first try, got it right, would be really weird. We'd have to check that guy because that guy might be an alien. Be like, trust me, this is what the aliens look like. Don't ask me how I know, but trust me.
Mhm.
Exactly my point on why this is just the most hilarious story of all time, I guess, in the history is figuring out if these aliens are real or not, because you all have to just make it so complicated.
Yeah, it is. Everything's complicated. All things worth doing are hard, Matt.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's
That's all I
true.
have to say. And Jose, do you have anything else to add with this?
Alien? No, I mean we were talking about Mexicans are not that. What was it Ryan saying? Not all of them are not that smart.
I said the whole country of Mexico. Please don't put those words in my mouth. I said the whole country of Mexico can't be insane at the same time. So if the country of Mexico believes these might be aliens, I feel like we should consider that a strong possibility.
They're all crazy. They're
Well,
all the
okay.
Mexicans are crazy. They're all fucking coke and drug lords. So I mean, fuck them all. All right, there you go.
Oh man, you want to talk about something that is just confusing? And if
But
this is true, this is this is something definitely to point out. NFTs,
Yeah.
non-fungible tokens. 4 years ago, we're going to be the future of crypto. They were going to change our lives. They were going to be the biggest thing on the internet. Your digital ownership, whether it's art, whether it's sports moments, whether it's movies, you people told us that NFTs are so valuable. Well, a new report claims that I'm so I'm my head is all over the place because I'm so amazed that this is actually confirmed, but a new report from industry researchers finds that 95% of the once hyped crypto assets have hit rock bottom in valuation. So according to this, your NFTs are worthless. Now, of course, there is so many people who are going against this story. There are so many people who are saying that this isn't true. The crypto bros are so offended. But it seems that this is worthless. From the start, I thought this was worthless. How could I have these digital art moments? How can I have all these important assets I can't touch, I can't feel, and whatever? And if this is true, and I'm sure there's going to be more traction as this unfolds, that NFTs were all a big scam. Do you actually think this is the case, or are we going to need more research on it?
I didn't even know NFT. I didn't even know NFTs were a thing still.
Exactly my point.
They're not a thing still. I think that's
like
the problem.
I haven't heard the letters NITs in probably in a year. Like,
yeah,
no,
I worked with
don't think
somebody who was telling me that, yo, NFTs are the big thing, bro. And I said, yo, come on this show I have. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. He didn't show up to defend himself. And if you're out there, I forgot your name, but damn, you would have looked stupid as hell.
Yeah, we've talked about crypto and NFTs before. I don't understand crypto either. I don't. None of that makes
I
sense.
noticed
NFTs
a
never made
lot of
sense.
people have talked about crypto, and I was telling
It's
a
all
crypto
fake.
bro about
None
this,
of
and he
this
was
is
personally
real.
offended
I
that I
know, but
mentioned that this
oh,
digital.
that's
He was
okay.
like, "Oh yeah, well, digital ownership is going to be a thing." No, whoever, give props to the person who came up with the concept of NFTs.
Digital ownership, yeah, biggest scam of all time. It's a Google image. You bought a Google image. I can
Yeah,
Google it. I can see
Logan
the
Paul, your
NFT.
favorite WWE wrestler, Ryan, was
Not
really
true.
into it.
None of that's true.
He was into it. He was making
Oh no,
points
yeah,
with
he
that.
was into it. I'm saying the
Oh,
bit about him being my
oh
favorite WWE wrestler
no,
is not
but
accurate. But
Logan Paul hasn't been talking about that.
no,
He was bored of
after,
it.
after that whole thing, he got sued for it. He wants to stay away from all that though.
yeah, exactly. NFTs have been people have known they're a scam for a long time. I think it's just the people who didn't know are about to find out when their NFTs are not worth anything.
Remember Bitcoin? That
Yeah,
was a
like
thing in the past.
I don't
They really
understand it.
got us.
Yeah, I don't
They got
understand
the society.
yeah, I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how you get it. I don't understand why it costs a lot of money. I don't really understand anything. And I'm not saying we don't need
Yeah,
new.
here is this NFT of some monkey eating a banana.
Right.
$16 million. What the hell?
Yeah, and like we do
You are all
probably
suckers who actually thought this was a thing. And I'm so glad the story came out. And I hope people challenge it, and I hope the research proves how much of an idiot some of you NFT bros are. God dang.
I do think it might be fair to talk about whether or not we need to update our currency in a way that's more modern and reflects better how we spend money, because we do spend money digitally. We don't hold physical money as much anymore. But NFTs were never the way. Bitcoin doesn't appear to be, or all of it, the whole cryptocurrency. None of that appears to be the way. At least not in its current form. Maybe someday, but the whole thing. I don't know how. If you saw those NFTs, remember like the NFT WWE did a couple of NFTs too. Like I watched those moments happen. They're on the WWE network. I can watch it again. Why do I have to pay $50 for a still image of a match I can watch tomorrow for, my usual subscription? And then the monkey ones, like Matt said, there was like a bunch of those monkey ones. And I don't know who thought it was a good idea. And I would love to talk to one of those people, because I know a lot of people did.
A sucker.
Right, but I'd love to hear like what was the sales pitch that they heard? Because I presumably heard the same sales pitch, right? Like I wasn't, I'm not super old or anything. So like, what was the sales pitch that they heard that made them get on board? Because I heard the sales pitch and I was like, I don't get it. And I know it's easy to be like, well, you're just stupid. but I'm not.
That's what those bros would say. You're just stupid. You're not a part of it.
But they lost a bunch of money, and I didn't.
Ha ha! Dumb.
Right. So my question is, instead of
you could have donated that to charity.
Right, but
you
we're
could
not
have learned a new
dumb.
hobby and skill. But no, you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a damn thing that you couldn't even grasp.
Right, but
if Google image.
But if you are one of those people, now that we've proven that I'm not stupid, I'm not calling you stupid. I just want to know what part of the sales. I know Matt is. So tell me at TweetCap, what was the sales pitch that you heard that made you say, "Yeah, I'm in"? That's what I want to know. That's all I want to know. What was the sales pitch?
Come on. I challenge you to come on one of these TweetCaps with the three of us and you tell your side of the story. And I promise I will not be this brash. Of course not. I want to know too. But it's just like you were really selling me a bill of goods that was worth nothing. And it seems that
what was the pitch? I don't see it.
Exactly. And let's end it with another stupid story, but funny one. So this might be very local, but the fact that this guy said this is just, oh my God. So New York City Sports Radio, WFAN, they have their afternoon show with Tiki Barber, Evan Roberts, and there's this guy, Sean Morash, who goes on. And let's just say he is not taken very seriously by a lot of people. So he goes on Thursday and he tells a story where allegedly the wife of Russell Wilson and a platinum singer, Ciara, was allegedly interested in him. And I'm going to play you the audio so you can hear it yourself. So this is Sean Morash on WFAN telling a story about him allegedly being in a place where she might be interested in him. So let's hear it. All right, here we go.
True story. That's why you're hating on. He met Ciara, and I'll let him tell the story, but I'll give you the thumbnail. I wasn't doing this. Ciara, and apparently felt like, wow, she really wants me. Go ahead.
I actually was with Tiki. We were at the same party. It was Justin Timberlake's album release party in Minnesota a few years back.
Do you remember this, by the way?
It was at Paisley Park, of course. Yeah, Paisley Park. All right. So I was the least important person there. One way or another, I ended up around Ciara and Russell Wilson, and we ended up doing a couple shots together at a bar.
You, Ciara, and Russ?
And there was a couple other people. Tiki might have been part of us doing shots. It was a big thing, right? And it's one of these, like, lock your phone in your pocket parties.
Yeah, I was too busy hiding my phone.
Yeah, exactly. We did a couple shots. We hit it off. I'm not going to lie to you, she touched my chest at one point. She found me very funny and very amusing. To the point where obviously Russell was there acting corny. She was gorgeous. I was married. I wasn't going to do anything about it. She was married. Wasn't going to do anything about it. I end up stumbling.
She was married. That was going to stop her.
I stumbled out of there. I got my Uber. She told me, get home safe, Sean. That was the last we ever spoke. She remembered my name, said on the way out the door, and I walked away feeling like this. I believe because she was a celebrity, she married a celebrity, but deep down, I believe that Ciara is a chubby chase. And clearly I was of some importance that I was at the same party, and I believe if we both weren't married, she would have considered going home with me.
About the jumbo.
All right. I believe in this brand, the Productive Conversations brand. So I am risking any consideration ever be on the WFEN airwaves to say that I can't believe you put this buffoon on to say such a stupid story like this. I mean, come on. Let me hear your reaction first, Jose and Ryan.
Maybe there's some truth to it. Look, maybe she's a chubby chaser. You never know.
That's what you.
I was literally about to say. I guess we can't be sure she doesn't like chubbier people, other than she's married to Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Chubby.
She went really skinny, and that fell off. Now he went to like an average man. We don't know where that's at right now. Maybe if she ever divorced, maybe it's time to go with the big guys.
I mean, this is not okay. You can't go around on a major radio station and say that a major superstar wants to have sex with you, who's married, by the way, and has children. Like, come on. You have to be professional here. Like, I know people want to get attention. I know people want to use their platforms to make an influence, but you can't say blasphemy like that. You know what? The show is definitely beneath her and Russell Wilson that it is swept under the rug. But my goodness, what a idiotic thing to say. Like,
we
gee.
started this episode with a guy who pretended to interview Kim Jong-un, and this is where you draw the line.
I know.
I mean, my defense to that is the fact that was just, as you mentioned, such a big prank. And like, but this is real life. Like, at least okay, impersonating a world leader, sure, that's definitely pushing the line too. But I mean, the fact that this guy actually said such a awful thing, like,
I'll say this. I agree. I don't think he's right. I think he's probably wrong. His assumption that if they were both single, she would have gone home with him. I don't think that's true. I think he's probably wrong. But I don't think this is the worst thing anyone has ever said. I don't know. I thought, honestly, the thing I was most interested in is why was this dude invited to Paisley Park? How did he get invited? That's what I want
exactly. That wasn't said in here. I don't know how that happened.
But no, I think it's pretty obvious that he's wrong. His friends are laughing at him the entire story. At one point, when he says, I'm married, I wasn't going to do anything. She's married, she wasn't going to do anything. They respond out loud with, "Oh yeah, she's married. That's the problem." So like, clearly, no one is taking this seriously. I mean, he might be, right?
Like here's the thing too. And somebody made this point. I was like, it's a joke, bro. What kind of joke? Is it okay for people to go around and say, yeah, I hung out with this person, they probably want to have sex with me?
No, but I don't think I don't think he was joking. I think he was telling the truth. He really thought that. I'm just saying
this guy who told me that's delusional anyways, but he's like, just think of this point. Maybe he's just joking around. You don't make a joke like that.
No, that would be a horrible joke. I agree with that 100%. If I thought he was kidding, if I thought he said this just for attention,
he's like,
I would be
just
totally
kidding.
Different. Right. Yeah. I would totally different reaction to this. He clearly believes this. He had whatever the interaction was.
And I showed you, Ryan, another clip. He said this. We said it earlier, a year earlier.
And so, like, he clearly believes it. He said it twice. And so, like, okay. If I thought he was doing it for clout, like, and he was trying to make a joke out of this, then I would agree with you, because that's a bad joke. But he believes it, and he's talking to his friends about a thing that happened to him. He genuinely believes it's clearly delusional. But whatever. I think he's no harm, no foul. I think, obviously, I mean, if Sierra had a problem with it, she'd probably come out and be like, that's delusional. I don't think she has a problem with it, because I don't think she's going to say anything. I think she's probably just going to ignore it altogether, because it is so probably outlandish.
And that's probably the right move. And as I mentioned, this story will probably get swept under the rug, and it's more of a local story anyways. But it's just the fact that somebody who has a platform like that and an adult would actually say something just so stupid. Maybe I'm taking it too seriously. I'll acknowledge that.
You definitely are very upset by this, but I'm
not upset. I'm just like baffled.
I think at the end of the day, you didn't hurt anybody. He's wrong, but it's okay to be wrong. A lot of people are wrong. Most people are wrong. I'm wrong most of the time. So being wrong is, there's worse things to be than wrong. So good for him. If it gets, you know what? If that gives him a little bit of pep in his step, if he's a better man and husband because he knows that all the ladies love him, then maybe it was best that it happened. Maybe
she touched my chest. He actually said that as if that is some sign.
Maybe everyone is better, or maybe he just is not used to affection from a woman, and he doesn't know what it means. You know, what I mean?
He's somehow married with that attitude, but
she probably touched his chest.
Maybe he used that story with the congresswoman at the Beetlejuice and say it was him and Sierra. That'll make it maybe a little more believable. You know what I mean?
I have a feeling she doesn't know who Sierra is, but
probably.
Man, what a show, guys! Definitely some good stuff here. But that'll wrap up this edition of the TweetCap. Jose Rivera, Ryan Page, great stuff. We'll see you next week. Whether it's a TweetCap stories, questions, we'll think of something fun to do. But we'll keep on keeping on. So we thank you, Ryan and Jose, and we'll see you real soon.
Thanks, guys.
Sure, no problem.